Kula. So this was a very requested video. Falling asleep at night for me, anywhere before 2 in the morning, to be honest, is sort of unnatural. So I've had to come up with a fairly significant winding down routine to help me sleep at night. And I'll just give you some tips on that, and then I'm going to show you a couple of poses, yoga poses that you can do at the end of your day that will really help you to wind down. So whether you're a night owl naturally like me, or whether you're just maybe going through a time of insomnia, sometimes if we're going through a lot mentally or we're stressed out, there's lots of changes, or seasonally, we can kind of go through little spells of having trouble falling asleep. And so hopefully this will help with those, and for those of you that are night owls. The first thing I want to talk about may be a little controversial, and I'm going to tell you to turn off your TV. That's right. So mentally stimulating the mind before going to bed is not a good idea for helping you to relax and calm your thoughts and go to sleep. And we don't realize it because, of course, we're used to it and we're around it a lot, but the television is actually incredibly visually stimulating and energetically stimulating, especially if you're watching something like the evening news before you turn in for bed. So basically you're sitting there watching murder, rape, and mayhem before you go to sleep. Not a good idea. So thing number one I would say is about an hour before you're going to go to bed, turn off anything that's going to stimulate your brain. So television, or if you're watching stuff like that on your computer, and start to move into quieter practices. So first things, make yourself a cup of herbal tea about an hour or so before bed. Doesn't mean that you have to go lay in bed an hour before go to bed, but we want to start this winding down process early. So make yourself a cup of herbal tea, something soothing that will, relax you and hydrate you before you go to sleep. And then dim the lights a little bit. So even if you're not in your actual bedroom, maybe start to dim the lights a little, turn some lights off. That already starts to send a signal to our mind and to our body that, it's time to wind down. So those are a couple of things you can do before. If you have a lot on your mind, which this happens to me a lot, whether it's good or bad, I tend to do most of my thinking when I hit the sack and my head's on the pillow. So whether that's worrying or whether it's just good stuff like planning and getting excited, and I get a lot of really good creative ideas and things like that at bedtime. So in order to prevent that, I have a journal by my bed. And again, before I actually want to go to sleep, I sit down and I write in my journal. So I may write, I don't do diary and go through my whole day, but I do always write down things that I'm grateful for through the day. So that's kind of like an end to my day, anything that happened through the day that I was grateful for, or things that, if they're negative or worry, what I find the best thing to do is to get the worries out of your head, because when they're here, they go in a circle and they just keep going and keep going and keep going. You can get them out on paper, you can see them, and it puts more of a stop to them, and it also makes them more realistic. They don't get blown out of proportion as much. So one practice that I've done, if I have had a point in my life when I've been quite worried and I haven't been able to sleep, is right on the top of the page, what am I worried about? Go through the list, and then just also break those down. So, okay, so what if that happened? What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? Really actually just kind of, basically talk yourself down off of the little mental loop that you're in. So that will help if, thoughts are keeping you up at night. But sometimes it's just a matter of how you are energetically, and so that's the case for me. I'm just naturally a night owl. So there's also some yoga postures that you can do that will help you to sleep at night. And I'm going to just show you, if you don't have a yoga bolster, like this, then you could just take a couple of firm folded blankets and either fold them up or roll them up and use that as well. So something quite firm like a Mexican blanket or a wool blanket. Or if you have a yoga bolster, then we'll use this for this little sequence. So the first thing that I'm going to do is called child's pose sometimes, or hero pose. Child or hero, and if you wear glasses like I do, just take them off for a moment, so that you can actually bring the point between your eyebrows, your third eye point, to the floor. And I'm just going to do that for a few breaths and take some deep breaths into the back of my body. So I'm just focusing on really breathing into my back ribs here as I lie here for a couple of breaths. that from anywhere for a minute or two. Posture for bringing the energy down is to do like a supported version of Paschimottanasana. So grabbing a bolster, putting this underneath your legs. And I'm doing this just so that I'm not getting a big stretch in my hamstrings, because I want to actually just be able to let my spine round forward. And so having a seat on a block so that you have some length to your spine, bolster under your legs, and then lengthening up, folding forward, and just letting yourself round in. So I'm not trying to keep my back flat. I'm actually allowing myself to soften in and to surrender and just to round in. And again, you can hold that from anywhere from 8 to 12 breaths, or even a couple to 3 minutes. So you could set a timer and really, settle in there for 3 minutes or so. So the next posture is a lying hip stretch. And so you might need a block. Some people will. Just have that handy if you do. So lying down. And again, crossing your ankle over your thigh. We do this pose fairly often because it's such a good one. Draw the toes back towards your knee. If you find that you can't lift up the legs and hold on to the leg without lifting your head off the floor, then take a block and just put it underneath your foot so that you can bring the leg up higher. Because we really want the shoulders, the head, and the neck to be able to relax here. And we don't want to be straining or lifting up. So you can either use a block, or if you have the range, you can hold on to the back of your leg, keeping these toes active the whole time. And you can hold this for a couple of minutes. So again, it could be anywhere from 8 to 12 breaths, or 2 minutes at a time, releasing and doing the same thing on the other side. And again, 8 to 12 breaths, or a couple of minutes. From there, moving into a twist, because we often hold a lot of tension in our back, and lying twists are really good for bringing the energy down and rooting into the earth. So bringing your arms either straight out, or if you're more open in your back, you might like to take cowboy surrender position, and bringing the knees over and just letting the legs rest into the floor. If your back arm floats up, then just bring it a little closer to your body so that it's not in the air. And again, you could go for 8 to 12 breaths, or up to 2 minutes per side. And then slowly coming up, and again, doing the other side as well. Again, 8 to 12 breaths, or a couple of minutes. A wall. You're either going to need a bolster, or again, some folded blankets, something firm to put underneath your hips. Because we're literally going to lie with our legs going up the wall. And this posture is very restorative to the nervous system. A couple other things you might want to grab. If you wear glasses like myself, you would take those off and put them to the side. And you might also want to just take a washcloth or a small towel and put it over your eyes to help to block the light and relax the eyes. Or if you have one of those eye bags that has flax or something in them, then again, you can put that over the eyes as well. And that just really helps to draw the eyes in. So I'll get into this. We're going to sit side saddle at the wall. So you want as you can, and then you're going to swing your legs up and lie down. So getting yourself as close as you can, bringing the legs up. If this is a big stretch for your hamstrings here, then bring yourself a little bit further away from the wall. But you do want a little bit of space between the wall and our bum. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push my feet into the wall, lift my hips, and I'm taking this bolster right underneath those little dimples you may still have above your bum. And then you're going to stretch your legs out. So you want this to be supporting the lower back. It should feel comfortable. If it doesn't, you probably don't have it high or low enough, so just play with the angle a little bit. Then drawing your shoulders down, letting your hands come up. If you wear glasses, taking them off. Maybe wearing an eye bag or a washcloth over the eyes. And just laying here and doing deep breaths. from 8 to 12 breaths up to 5 minutes. As long as your feet aren't falling asleep, you're going to come out the same way you went in, lifting your hips, slide the bolster out, and then just take a moment to roll over to your side, and then bring yourself up. And if at this point you're content and relaxed and ready for bed, then sweet dreams. So I hope that you found that helpful. Again, the yoga postures will help a bit, and so will things like dimming the lights and the tea and all of that, but really you have to watch how much you're mentally stimulating yourself before bed. And give yourself a little bit of time to have this nightly wind down routine. Whether you're a night owl, you can incorporate it all the time. If you're not a night owl and you're just having a particular hard time sleeping, then carve out a little bit of time for some self-care to wind yourself down before bed. You'll have a great deep sleep. You'll wake up feeling refreshed. So I hope that was helpful. Enjoy. Let me know how it goes. Namaste.